Hello and welcome to another update video about Ethereum. So with Ethereum, two key options. So this is the main scenario here where we are currently looking generally at higher prices primarily. Yeah, I would still expect higher prices towards later in the week. We talked about a possible local low in place here at 1420 in the primary scenario here. That was a wave A, even though that retraced quite a lot. It came down quite strongly. The problem is if the wave A is already very long, then the wave C, needs a certain space as well, because you can say the wave C has oftentimes the same length as the wave A. Oftentimes the wave C is even longer, but rarely shorter. So if the wave A is already very long, that means the wave C is usually the same length at least. The higher the wave B now goes, which we would expect next, the less, or the higher that goes, the higher the wave C will end as well. Because it is, we've got here the wave A, we're moving up in a wave B. If the wave B is very short, the wave C comes down lower, if you see what I mean. If we have a wave A that is that long and then the wave B moves very high, could even be overshooting, then the wave C normally doesn't come that low, but it still has the same length. It's just due to the length of the wave B, we have different target levels. Okay, but let's take a look here generally at where we currently are. There are two key possibilities here at the moment, and I'm also telling you which one I'm in favor of. This is currently still how I see the main scenarios. So that we came down, finished off a wave A here. We're now moving up in a wave B. Target level is still it's 1770 to 1920. That is still would still be my target at the moment. Yeah. We moved up in a wave A. That's how we can see it. And here's now where we have two options. So either we say, all right, this was the wave A, the wave B down here, and we're now moving up in a C already. I have my problems to count this here as an impulse, because I would have to, if this is the scenario, I would have to count this as a wave 1, this as a wave 2, moving up in a 3, coming down a 4, moving up in a 5. From a point of view that this would be a wave 1 from the length, and where we need to get to, that would work out perfectly. The move down at the moment is also a nice 3-wave move. And if we look on the lower time frames, yes, we can count this as a 5-wave move. We can say this was the 1, the 2, the 3, a very small 4, and the 5. It would count as a 5-wave move. So we can give it the benefit of the doubt as long as this low of the wave A stays in place. Okay? Or let's even say we can focus on this scenario as long as we stay above 1492. So as long as we stay actually in the green target range. Yeah? As long as that's the case, we can focus on this scenario and say, okay, wave A done, wave B done, and we're now in the wave C. Of the wave C, we've done the wave 1 and the wave 2. Wave 2 can be finished at any point in time. I would then expect primarily out of this green target range a move to the upside, towards the 1770 level. That's how we can see it. Alternatively, we could say if we now go below the low of the wave A here, then we would have to say, all right, this was the wave A, the wave B was never finished, and in the wave B, this was an A, B, C, because the wave B itself is a 3-wave move. So the next move here will tell us more in which scenario we are, because if we now move higher from here and would even break above 1620, it indicates that we are in a wave 3. And that is also what I would go with at the moment. As long as we're holding that 1492 level, we can go with this scenario here, A, B, C, and that we've already done the wave 1, possibly the wave 2 here of the wave C. I mean, as you can see, we can already see 3 waves here in a wave 2. So at any point in time, we could now expect the move up from here, from within, again, the green target range. Okay, and this is sort of what I would go with at the moment. Important here is, first of all, to hold the 1492 level. If we go below this, okay, it would not entirely invalidate it, but then we would have to hold the 1475 level. If this drops, we're probably going to retest 1420. And if we break below that, I think then we can get straight away into this area between 1120 and 1330. There's also the other scenario I showed you in the previous video. I don't want to confuse people, so please only stick with me here if you like to learn about another scenario. But this one is the one currently I would go with. But for everybody who's willing to learn, who's got an open mind, I'm going to show you this other scenario as well. In this scenario, we would say that, again, here there are also two scenarios basically that are possible. From the high, at 2030, we then could say we moved down in a wave W, already moved up in a wave X, and we're now coming down in a wave Y. In this wave Y, we would typically have three waves, A, B, C. Now, someone pointed out in the previous comments that the wave B could in fact even go below the wave X. Yeah, it could. But it's rare. It is really rare. So if we go below that level, I would nearly dismiss this scenario. But yeah, this would be a scenario in which, as I said, if we now lose the 1420 level, then this is probably the one that I would go with. It would allow us to basically in a valid way count it in a way that we go down straight away. Not my primary expectation, but it is the one that I would go with if we go below the low of the wave A, which is at 1420. Okay, there's even the possibility that we say, all right, this was the wave W, because it's a three-wave move. This is currently, come on, this was the W. The wave X is currently still unfolding, and the wave Y would be even lower. Now that would be an even stronger retracement, yeah. So in a sense that we had here in the wave W an A, B, C, and we are now moving up in a wave X. But I think I'd rather go with this. This seems also in terms of proportions and where we need to go, for me at the moment, more likely. But it's not the one that I primarily focus on. It's just another possibility. WXY, absolutely something, that we just need to keep an eye on. So a WXY pattern is a more complex correction, a so-called double three, where you have basically additional corrections in each subwave. It's just something that is possible here as well if we take a look at this overall wave count. Yeah. So. But again, it's also possible that we say the wave W was here and we're just now doing the X wave. So that we've completed an ABC here. We will then move up in a wave X. Key target for this, I can tell you as well, is probably here this swing high at 1726, and we would then move down in a wave Y in another ABC. But again, at the moment we can focus on this one, but also only as alternative, because the primary one is the one I showed you here with the ABC, where we would now next move up into the region between 1770 ideally and 1920. At the moment, it's just generally important to keep an open mindset, I think. However this is going to work out, that's, I think, important to understand. Whatever the subwaves are, which are eventually going to be unfolding, the wave 2, in my opinion, is not yet finished. So if we see a little bit more upside and then come down, or if we come down straight away, they are just different routes on the motorway, different exits that we can use to get to the same destination. So I still think we come down lower eventually in a wave 2. From here then, this would be a good entry point that I will use personally as well. Okay, and that's my update about Ethereum. So hopefully you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.